I'm a fraud. I'm going to play to every cliche that's just been talked about. Because I realise sitting here, everything that everyone says you do and then shouldn't do, I have done. So I have boxed, not done judo. Literally, I hit my chairman in a fight when we're talking about work. So that was not, I wouldn't advise that. I'm a terrible introvert, which is why I'm hiding behind Rachel, who did all the hard work, and I just said I'd come and say a few choice bits at the end. Which is the way of a creative person, I think. We're not very good at putting ourselves forward. And so maybe you find that the creative department is the last bastion of everything awful about advertising. Everything that feels that it plays to the aggression, the male-dominated blokiness, etc., etc. It does. It's highly competitive. It's aggressive. It seemingly rewards those that have big egos that think they're funny and can entertain everyone, all of which feel, inherently not very female and definitely not very me. And I think to some extent that is still true, but it is changing. And why is that changing? I think it's changing because diversity. Because actually, as a creative director, you're a football manager. You're looking for a really diverse team. You don't want sameness, you want differentness. And that's really what you do every day. I look at my department and I think, right, is that the right combination? Have we got the right combination of talent? And it's not boys, girls, men, women. It's not young, old. It's not north-south. It's not Antipodean or Swedish. It's difference. And the difference is really important. And I need the difference because I have all sorts of projects on the go and I want to play with different characters and I want them to give me different answers. And so I think the fact that we're now a little bit more alive to diversity has meant that the culture feels different. And I think this process has been organic. When I started, it wasn't that, in fairness. And I played to the blokeness. I could do better knob gags than anyone, because I learnt to do it. And I thought that was how I kind of made my way. I still do to some extent, but then I realized that probably is me. And I think this is about learning to just be you. And so in my department, I was trying to think, everyone's talking numbers. I haven't a bloody clue what our mix is, because I go, right, I've got them. I don't think about it. And I think that's, in the end, the important thing. I think I have this fantastic team that are from LA, and they just write brilliantly. Or I have this amazing team, they're Austrian. They're so graphic in how they think, so I give them different projects. And that's how, I think diversity is the answer, that we don't try and be men. We try and be ourselves and nurture, and as managers, nurture individualism. And I think that will ultimately be the difference. I think all the things that Rachel was talking about, I sort of go, God, yeah, because traditionally, I think creative people, and I know myself, think all this training is a load of bollocks. And we just go, yeah. And then I realize why, because actually we have the benefit. Every day we're reviewed. Every day we sit down and talk. So every day I talk to everyone in my department about work. Every day we sit down, we have a coffee, and we're talking about it. We go through it, we review it, we criticize it, we develop it. And that's not only developing their work, it's them. So every single day there is this social interaction that's happening around the work, around the product, but it's about individuals, because when you're talking about your ideas, you're putting yourself into them. And it's a very painful thing to do. You sort of open yourself up a bit to criticism, and it's very hard. So to create an environment that actually allows failure, for me, is the most important thing to do. I think an environment and a culture that makes it fearless, and therefore failure is okay, should be then an environment that allows you to take risks without feeling you're taking them. That should make that feel that it's something that we don't have to worry about, and therefore maybe doesn't naturally pander to a sort of a male maybe confidence, or overconfidence, should we say sometimes. And if I feel that people are behaving slightly overconfidently, I always find a little way to just knock them back, keep them in their place. But I think that's it. I think I was trying to work out, so we do have a fantastic sort of review system, and we do embrace it because it just gives people a chance. They know at certain times of the year they can come and just talk about money. We all hate it. But it's kind of, that's the point of it. So they don't have to ask, it's just the conversation, and I think that helps as well. I think we do have the peak performance. I've done one of these peak performance. I hate the whole notion of it. Oh my Lord. But actually, it was incredibly inspiring and very personal, actually. And the great thing was you could write it all down and no one had to know what you'd written, so you could keep it to yourself. So it was almost something that was very much about yourself, and you didn't have to perform in front of cameras and do some pseudo media presentation, which puts the fear of God into me. You could just sort of sit there and work it through yourself, which I think is actually what we all need. We need a little time, a little break in our day, in our week, in our month, that allows us the selfishness of thinking about ourselves and what would be the sort of thing that would benefit and help us, and then be given the opportunity and the environment to go and talk to someone about that. And as I say, in the creative department, I think we really are a department that means it's utterly about dialogue. And it's about dialogue around our ideas. But ultimately, what I do realise is, I was talking to Rachel about it, I know everything about everyone in my department because I sit down with them every day, so I know who's going out with who, I know what they did last night, I know, where they're living, I know the trials and traumas of their dog, their baby, their whatever. And so it just happens because it happens when you come in, you have a chat, and you spend at least half an hour talking about other shit, and then you sit down and talk about the work. And in that way of iterating and working, and you work out what people are good at, where their weaknesses are, and then you try and help them develop that through the work, which helps develop them. And so I suppose it was just thinking about those things that are in place that I think it's very easy for me to be cynical about. I think they're all incredibly valuable because I think they just form a little bit of structure to what is essentially a very fluid business. And they allow us to just know that somewhere that is being looked after and thought about, which gives us the confidence to just be ourselves a little bit more. And I think, actually, that was really, given the time, all I think I need to say. Thank you.